See, I present before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, that you hearken to the commandments of Hashem your God that I command you today, and the curse, if you do not hearken to the commandments of Hashem your God, and you stray from the path that I command you today, to follow gods of others that you did not know. It shall be that when Hashem your God brings you to the land to which you come to possess it, then you shall deliver the blessing on Mount Gezerim and the curse on Mount Ebal. And are they not on the other side of the Jordan, far in the direction of the sunset, in the land of the Canaanite that dwells in the plain, far from Gilgal, near the plains of Moreh? For you are crossing the Jordan to come and possess the land that Hashem your God gives you. You shall possess it, and you shall settle it. You shall be careful to perform all the decrees and the ordinances that I present before you today. These are the decrees and the ordinances that you shall observe to perform in the land that Hashem, the God of your forefathers, has given you, to possess it all the days that you live on the land. You shall utterly destroy all the places where the nations that you shall possess worship their gods, on the high mountains and on the hills and under every leafy tree. You shall break apart their altars, you shall smash their pillars, and their sacred trees shall you burn in fire. Their carved images shall you cut down, and you shall obliterate their names from that place. You shall not do this to Hashem your God, rather only at the place that Hashem your God will choose from among all your tribes to place his name there shall you seek out his presence and come there. And there shall you bring your elevation offering and feast offering, your tithes, and what you raise up with your hand, your vow offering and your freewill offering, and the firstborn of your cattle and your flocks. You shall eat there before Hashem your God, and you shall rejoice with every undertaking, you and your households, as Hashem your God has blessed you. You shall not do like everything that we do here today, rather every man what is proper in his eyes, for you will not yet have come to the resting place or to the heritage that Hashem your God gives you. You shall cross the Jordan and settle in the land that Hashem your God causes you to inherit, and he will give you rest from all your enemies all around, and you will dwell securely. It shall be that the place where Hashem your God will choose to rest his name, there shall you bring everything that I command you, your elevation offering and your feast offering, your tithes and what you raise up with your hand, and the choicest of your vow offerings, that you will vow to Hashem. You shall rejoice before Hashem your God, you, your sons and your daughters, your slaves and your maidservants, and the Levite who is in your cities, for he has no share and inheritance with you. Beware for yourself lest you bring up your elevation offering in any place that you see, rather only in the place that Hashem will choose among one of your tribes. There shall you bring up your elevation offerings, and there shall you do all that I command you. However, in all your soul's desire, you may slaughter and eat meat, according to the blessing that Hashem your God will have given you in all your cities. The contaminated one and the pure one may eat it, like the deer and the hart. But you shall not eat the blood, you shall pour it into the earth like water. In your cities you may not eat the tithe of your grain and your wine and your oil, the firstborn of your cattle and your flocks, all your vow offerings that you vow, and your freewill offerings, and what you raise up with your hand. Rather you shall eat them before Hashem your God in the place that Hashem your God will choose, you, your son, your daughter, your slave, your maidservant, and the Levite who is in your cities. And you shall rejoice before Hashem your God in every undertaking. Beware of yourself lest you forsake the Levite all your days on your land, when Hashem your God will broaden your boundary as he spoke to you, and you say, I would eat meat, for you will have a desire to eat meat. To your heart's entire desire may you eat meat. If the place where Hashem your God will choose to place his name will be far from you, you may slaughter from your cattle and your flocks that Hashem has given you, as I have commanded you, and you may eat in your cities according to your heart's entire desire, even as the deer and the hart are eaten. So may you eat it. The contaminated one and the pure one may eat it together. Only be strong not to eat the blood, for the blood, it is the life, and you shall not eat the life with the meat. You shall not eat it. You shall pour it onto the ground like water. You shall not eat it, in order that it be well with you and your children after you, when you do what is right in the eyes of Hashem. Only your sanctuaries that you will have and your vow offerings shall you carry, and come to the place that Hashem will choose. You shall perform your elevation offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of Hashem your God, and the blood of your feast offering shall be poured upon the altar of Hashem your God, and you shall eat the flesh. Safeguard and hearken to all these words that I command you, in order that it be well with you and your children after you forever, when you do what is good and right in the eyes of Hashem your God. When Hashem your God will cut down the nations to which you should come to take possession from them before you, and you will take possession from them and settle in their land. Beware for yourself lest you be attracted after them, after they have been destroyed before you, and lest you seek out their gods, saying, how did these nations worship their gods? And even I will do the same. You shall not do so to Hashem your God, for everything that is an abomination of Hashem that he hates have they done to their gods, for even their sons and their daughters have they burned in the fire of their gods. The entire word that I command you, that you shall observe to do, you shall not add to it, and you shall not subtract from it. If there should stand up in your midst a prophet or a dreamer of a dream, and he will produce to you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder comes about, of which he spoke to you, saying, let us follow gods of others that you did not know, and we shall worship them. Do not hearken to the words of that prophet or to that dreamer of a dream, for Hashem your God is testing you to know whether you love Hashem your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Hashem your God shall you follow, and him shall you fear. His commandments shall you observe, and to his voice shall you hearken. Him shall you serve, and to him shall you cleave. And that prophet and that dreamer of a dream shall be put to death, for he has spoken perversion against Hashem your God, who takes you out of the land of Egypt, and who redeems you from the house of slavery, to make you stray from the path on which Hashem your God has commanded you to go, and you shall destroy the evil from your midst. If your brother, the son of your mother, or the son of your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is like your own soul will entice you secretly, saying, let us go and worship the gods of others that you did not know, you or your forefathers, from the gods of the peoples that are all around you, those near you or those far from you, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. You shall not ascend to him, and not hearken to him. Your eye shall not take pity on him. You shall not be compassionate nor conceal him. Rather, you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be the first against him to kill him, and the hand of the entire people afterwards. You shall pelt him with stones, and he shall die. For he sought to make you stray from near Hashem your God, who takes you out of Egypt from the house of slavery. All Israel shall hear and fear, and they shall not again do such an evil thing in your midst. If in one of your cities that Hashem your God gives you in which to dwell, you hear saying, lawless men have emerged from your midst, and they have caused the dwellers of their city to go astray, saying, let us go and worship the gods of others that you have not known, you shall seek out and investigate and inquire well, and behold, it is true, the word is correct, this abomination was committed in your midst. You shall surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, lay it waste, and everything that is in it, and its animals with the edge of the sword. You shall gather together all its booty to the midst of its open square, and you shall burn it in fire completely, the city and all its booty, to Hashem your God, and it shall be an eternal heap. It shall not be rebuilt. No part of the banned property may adhere to your hand, so that Hashem will turn back from his burning wrath. And he will give you mercy and be merciful to you and multiply you, as he swore to your forefathers, when you hearken to the voice of Hashem your God, to observe all his commandments that I command you today, to do what is right in the eyes of Hashem your God. You are children to Hashem your God. You shall not cut yourself, and you shall not make a bald spot between your eyes for a dead person. For you are a holy people to Hashem for God, and Hashem has chosen you for himself to be a treasured people from among all the peoples on the face of the earth. You shall not eat any abomination. These are the animals that you may eat: the ox, sheep, and goat, the hart, deer, and yamur, the ako, dishon, the teo, and the zamir, and every animal that has a split hoof, which is completely separated in two hoofs, that bring up its cud among animals, it may you eat. But this shall you not eat from among those that bring up their cud, or have completely separated split hoof: the camel, the hare, and the hyrax. For they bring up their cud, but their hoof is not split. They are unclean to you. And the pig, for it has a split hoof, but not the cud. It is unclean to you. From their flesh you shall not eat, and you shall not touch their carcass. This you may eat of everything that is in the water. Anything that has fins and scales you may eat, and anything that does not have fins and scales you shall not eat. It is unclean to you. Every clean bird you may eat. This is what you shall not eat from among them: the nesher, the perez, the uzna, the ra, the ayah, the dalia, according to its kind, and every oriv according to its kind: the bas haya anah, the tachmos, the sachach, the nets according to its kind, the kos, the yansuf, and the tin shemes, the ka'as, the chachma, and the shalach, the hashta, the anfa, according to its kind, the dochshivas, and the atilef, and every flying swarming creature is unclean to you. They shall not be eaten. Every clean bird may you eat. You shall not eat any carcass. To the stranger who is in your cities shall you give it, that he may eat it or sell it to a Gentile. For you are a holy people to Hashem, your God. You shall not cook a kid in its mother's milk. You shall tithe the entire crop of your planting, the produce of the field, year by year. And you shall eat before Hashem your God in the place that he will choose to rest his name there, the tithe of your grain, your wine, and your oil, the firstborn of your cattle and your flocks, so that you will learn to fear Hashem your God all the days, if the road will be too long for you, so that you cannot carry it, because the place that Hashem your God will choose to place his name there is far from you, for Hashem your God will have blessed you. Then you may exchange it for money, wrap up the money in your hand, and go to the place that Hashem your God will choose. You may spend the money for whatever your soul desires, for cattle, for flocks, for wine, or for alcoholic beverage, or anything that your soul wishes. You shall eat it there before Hashem your God and rejoice, you and your household. You shall not forsake the Levite who is in your cities, for he has no portion or inheritance with you. At the end of the 3 years you shall take out every tithe of your crop in that year and set it down within your cities. Then the Levite can come, for he has no portion or inheritance with you, and the proselyte, the orphan, and the widow who are in your cities, so they may eat and be satisfied, in order that Hashem your God will bless you in all your handiwork that you may undertake. At the end of 7 years you shall institute a remission. This is the matter of the remission. Every creditor shall remit his authority over what he has lent his fellow. He shall not press his fellow or his brother, for he has proclaimed a remission for Hashem. You may press the Gentile, but over what you have with your brother you shall remit your authority. However, may there be no destitute among you. Rather, Hashem will surely bless you in the land that Hashem your God will give you as an inheritance to possess it. Only if you will hearken to the voice of Hashem your God, to observe, to perform his entire commandment that I command you today, for Hashem your God has blessed you as he has told you. You will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow, and you will dominate many nations, but they will not dominate you. If there shall be a destitute person among you, any of your brethren, in any of your cities, in your land that Hashem your God gives you, you shall not harden your heart or close your hand against your destitute brother. Rather, you shall open your hand to him. You shall lend him his requirement, whatever is lacking to him. Beware lest there be a lawless thought in your heart, saying, the 7th year approaches, the remission year, and you will look malevolently upon your destitute brother and refuse to give him. Then he may appeal against you to Hashem, and it will be a sin upon you. You shall surely give him, and let your heart not feel bad when you give him. For in return for this matter, Hashem your God will bless you in all your deeds and in your every undertaking. For destitute people will not cease to exist within the land. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall surely open your hand to your brother, to your poor, and to your destitute in your land. If your brother, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, will be sold to you, he shall serve you for 6 years, and in the 7th year you shall send him away from you free. But when you send him away from you free, you shall not send him away empty-handed. Adorn him generously from your flocks, from your threshing floor, and from your wine cellar. As Hashem your God has blessed you, so shall you give him. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and Hashem your God redeemed you. Therefore I command you regarding this matter today. In the event he will say to you, I will not leave you, for he loves you and your household, for it is good for him with you, then you shall take the awl and put it through his ear and the door, and he shall be for you an eternal slave, even to your maidservant, so you do the same. It shall not be difficult in your eyes when you send him away free from you, for twice the wage of a hired hand, 6 years, has he served you, and Hashem your God will bless you in all that you do. Every firstborn male that is born in your cattle and in your flock you shall sanctify to Hashem your God. You shall not work with the firstborn of your ox, nor shall you shear the firstborn of your flock. Before Hashem your God shall you eat it year by year in the place that Hashem will choose, you and your household. If it shall have a blemish, lameness, or blindness, or any serious blemish, you shall not slaughter it to Hashem your God. In your cities you shall eat it, the contaminated one and the pure one alike, like the deer and the hart. However, you shall not eat its blood. You shall pour it onto the ground like water. You shall observe the month of springtime and perform the Pesach offering for Hashem your God, for in the month of springtime Hashem your God took you out of Egypt at night. You shall slaughter the Pesach offering to Hashem your God from the flock, and also offer cattle in the place where Hashem will choose to rest his name. You shall not eat leavened bread with it. For 7 days you shall eat matzos because of it, bread of affliction. For you departed from the land of Egypt in haste, so that you will remember the day of your departure from the land of Egypt all the days of your life. No leaven of yours shall be seen throughout your boundary for 7 days, nor shall any of the flesh that you slaughter on the afternoon before the first day remain overnight till morning. You may not slaughter the Pesach offering in one of your cities that Hashem your God gives you, except at the place that Hashem your God will choose to rest his name. There you shall slaughter the Pesach offering in the afternoon, when the sun descends, the appointed time of your departure from Egypt. You shall roast it and eat it in the place that Hashem your God will choose, and in the morning you may turn back and go to your tents. For a 6-day period you shall eat matzos, and on the 7th day shall be an assembly to Hashem your God. You shall not perform labor. You shall count 7 weeks for yourselves. From when the sickle is first put to the standing crop shall you begin counting 7 weeks. Then you shall observe the festival of Shavuos for Hashem your God. The voluntary offering that you give shall be commensurate with how much Hashem your God will have blessed you. You shall rejoice before Hashem your God, and your son and your daughter, your slave, your maidservants, the Levite who is in your cities, the proselyte, the orphan, and the widow who are among you. In the place that Hashem your God will choose to rest his name, you shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and you shall observe and perform these decrees. You shall make the festival of Sukkot for a 7-day period, when you gather in from your threshing floor and from your wine vat. You shall rejoice on your festival, you, your son, your daughter, your slave, your maidservant, the Levite, the proselyte, the orphan, and the widow who are in your cities. A 7-day period shall you celebrate to Hashem your God in the place that Hashem will choose. For Hashem your God will have blessed you in all your crop and in all your handiwork, and you will be completely joyous. 3 times a year all your males should appear before Hashem your God in the place that he will choose, on the festival of Matzos, the festival of Shavuos, the festival of Sukkos, and he shall not appear before Hashem empty-handed, everyone according to what he can give, according to the blessing that Hashem your God has given you.